Yesterday we talked about weight and capacity. Capacity meaning how much something holds, and weight meaning how much something weighs or how heavy or how light it is. Today we want to look at how things are weighed or how things are measured when we're talking about their capacity. Looking at your star reference chart, we're going to be looking at the customary measurements today. So we'll be focused on these two sections today. Customary measurements of volume and capacity, and customary measurements of weight. So for customary measurements of capacity, we're talking about gallons, quarts, pints, cups, and fluid ounces. And for customary measurements of weight, we'll be looking at tons, pounds, and ounces. Did you notice that there are ounces in both categories? Pay attention close to those. Fluid ounces are a measurement of capacity or how much liquid something will hold. Ounces in our weight category is a weight. It's a measure of how heavy something is. So we watch close on those and notice they each have different abbreviations. So we can pay attention to that to help us also. So let's look at some of the things that we talked about yesterday and figure out what would be the most appropriate measure for them. Would they be measured in gallons, quarts, pints, cups, or ounces? So I started by giving us some ideas of what each one of these measurements would look like. So let's look at this. Our sand pail that we talked about yesterday is typically about the size of a gallon. So that would help us have an idea of what a gallon looks like. Our milk carton is labeled 1 quart. So that's 1 quart for us. Our small ice cream container is a pint. So let's look at the measurement of 1 cup. Our teacup is about the size of 1 cup. And then if we're talking about a fluid ounce, remember that's different than an ounce that would weigh something in ounces. A fluid ounce is how much liquid it would take to fill something. So a medicine cup that you may have seen at home or at the doctor's office, or maybe if you've gone to see the nurse at school, a medicine cup would be measuring ounces. That's a very small measurement. So now let's see if we can sort out a few things. Let's start with our juice box. Our juice box says right on it in the bottom right-hand corner that it's measured in fluid ounces. It's smaller than a cup, so we use fluid ounces to label its measurement or to measure it. How about this Pepsi container? Do you think it's a gallon, a quart, a pint, or a cup? If we were going to use customary measurements to measure this Pepsi container, we would say we would measure it in quarts. Now, what about this swimming pool? Would it be appropriate to try to tell me how many fluid ounces it would take to fill up this swimming pool? That would be a lot of fluid ounces. So we would use gallons to say how much this swimming pool would hold or what its capacity is. We would measure the amount of water it would take to fill it up in gallons. How about this soup container? Well, this soup container could be measured using fluid ounces, or it could be measured telling me how many cups it would hold. So here's one way to think about it. If it would take more than 1 cup to fill it up, then I would want to measure it in cups. If it would take less than 1 cup to fill it up, then I would want to measure it in fluid ounces. So this container holds more than 1 cup, so I would want to measure it in cups. Now, how about your water bottle? This water bottle is pretty small, so this water bottle could be measured in pints. If we looked back at our reference chart, we could see that it takes 2 cups to make 1 pint. So this would fall into this category of pints. Now let's talk about how we would categorize things that we are weighing. So if we look at our weight section, we see that we're talking about tons, pounds, and ounces. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, so that's really, really heavy. And 1 pound is 16 ounces. So tons are our biggest measurement on our reference chart. Pounds are the next size, and then ounces are the smallest weight that we use to measure things from our reference chart. So let's see how we might sort these out. Since tons are the largest unit of measure we would use in 3rd grade from our reference chart to measure the weight of something, we will start with tons. And this truck would be measured in tons. Now, kids don't weigh a ton because a ton is 2,000 pounds and people are not that heavy. So we would measure kids in pounds. To give us a good idea of something we would measure in ounces, I thought we could use a carrot. So now let's see how we could sort these other items out. An orange, would I be using tons, pounds, or ounces to weigh an orange? Well, I think I would use ounces. It's not that heavy, but I would still want to measure as specific as I could. So I would use ounces. How about this dump truck? Well, I think it's bigger than the truck that I have under tons, so I would want to measure it in tons also. How about a puppy dog? Now, a dog doesn't weigh as much as people do, but it definitely weighs more than a carrot or an orange. So I would measure this dog or a cat with pounds. How about a ship? Thinking about what we've already put under tons, pounds, and ounces, what would be the most appropriate category to weigh a ship? Right, it would be tons. It's bigger than both of those other two items. How about a box of cereal? Do we buy pounds and pounds and pounds of cereal? Or do you think we buy ounces? Well, it probably depends on what size the box is, that's for sure. But most of the time, something light like a box of cereal is going to be weighed in ounces. Now, how about this sandwich? Where do you think you would put that? Be ready to tell your teacher why you would put something in a certain category. I think ounces would be the most appropriate. Most of the sandwiches we would make at home would not be weighed in pounds. They're not that heavy. Okay, I have one more for you. How about this log? What do you think? Where would it go? If it was going to be weighed in tons, it would have to be 2,000 pounds. I don't think that log weighs 2,000 pounds. Do you think it's as light as a carrot or an orange? Probably not. I think I would put it in pounds also. Good thinking. Tomorrow we'll do something similar, but we'll be talking about our metric measurements.